People ask me sometimes, why do you have your hair that way? I understand the curiosity. My hair doesn't follow a template. It doesn't match a category. And that's because it isn't meant to. My hair is not just a style, it's a story. It's a living text written in strands, braids, and shaved lines. And like any good story, it has layers. Let me tell you what it means. First, my hair expresses my identity. Not the kind that fits neatly into a binary, but the kind that breathes, shifts, and expands. Anthropologists and gender theorists remind us that gender is not a fixed essence, but a performance, a doing, a becoming. My hair does that work for me. The long pigtails, the shaved sides, the grown out half mohawk, and the 4 braids that I made on a whim. Each one carries a different energy. Some people see femininity, some see masculinity, some see rebellion. But what I see is truth, my truth, a truth that refuses to choose only one lane. But identity is only the first layer. My hair is also spiritual. Across cultures, hair is understood as a form of life force, a carrier of memory, intuition, and connection. Indigenous communities across the Americas describe long hair as an extension of the self, a physical expression of spirit and lineage. Sikh traditions treats uncut hair as a sign of devotion and acceptance of divine will. And in Andean cultures, long braids symbolize continuity, ancestry, and resistance. That's what my long sections are for me, the parts of my story I'm carrying forward. And the shaved parts? Those are the parts I'm releasing. Shaving the head, or parts of it, appears in Buddhist practices, in rites, in mourning, and in warrior traditions. It symbolizes purification, transition, and readiness. When I shave parts of my head, I'm not trying to shock anyone. I'm clearing space. I'm making room for the next version of myself. And then there are the braids, especially the 4 I made just last night. Braiding is one of the most symbolically rich hair practices on Earth. In African cultures, indigenous, and Norse traditions, braiding represents weaving order from chaos, integrating past and future, and strengthening the self through intention. Even when I braided my hair spontaneously, my hands were doing something ancient. They were grounding me. Psychologists who study embodiment say that the body often expresses what the mind is working through, not as pathology, but as adaptation. Hair becomes a tool for self-crafting, a way to externalize transformation. My hair is part of that process. It's how I mark change, claim agency, and narrate my own becoming. And if you look across the world, you'll see echoes of my style everywhere. The 2 long sections, like the paired braids of the Andean women, symbolizing balance and lineage. The shaved sides, like the Buddhist monks clearing the mind, or the Mahasai warriors marking tradition. A mohawk element, like the Haudenosaunee warriors who wore it as a sign of clarity and readiness. The braids, like African, indigenous, and Norse traditions that use them to express identity, strength, and connection. My hair is a cultural fusion, a global language of survival, identity, and transformation. And if you want the mythic version, because myth is just truth told in symbols, then my hair carries the marks of 3 distinct archetypes. The weaver, who braids to integrate the many parts of the self. The warrior, who shaves to see clarity and move freely. And the shapeshifter, who refuses to be only one thing and moves between worlds. So when someone asks me, why do you have your hair that way? I could say, because I like it, and that would be true. But the deeper truth is this. My hair is the story of a person in transition, a person reclaiming themselves, a person weaving together strength, softness, memory, and becoming. A person who refuses to hide the complexity of who they are. My hair looks like this because I look like this, inside. And I'm finally letting the outside match.